Hello, my crafty friends. Welcome. Today, I'm going to be creating some fall-themed tags using some of the club kits from Spellbinders. So I'm going to start out with their Stamp and Die Club of the Month. This one is called Fall Thoughtfulness. I thought this one would be perfect for some little tags. It'll be great for cards too, but I was just in the mood to create some tags. So I'll start off with this bouquet stamp. It has some fall leaves in it. And on most of the tags today, I'm going to be using this older tag set from Spellbinders. I'll have the link to it listed in the description box, but it's just the perfect size in my opinion. I had some pre-cut already, so I'm going to use that little green tag that you see up at the top of the screen. I'm using some Copic-friendly black ink to stamp out the bouquet. And I did stamp it out several times to get the lines nice and black. I will be doing my Copic coloring off camera. It's just some basic coloring. And then once I'm done, I like to freshen up my lines by stamping it out again. You can buy this club kit with just the stamp set, but it comes with the coordinating dies if you select that option. And I love having the coordinating dies, so I'm going to use that to cut out the bouquet. I'll tape this in place and then run it through my Platinum 6 machine. Here it is, all cut out. Isn't that just beautiful? So this is going to look pretty on the tag. I decided to use some foam squares behind this, and it will kind of come off the edges of the tag, but that's all right. I love the look of that. The sentiment says Happy Fall, and I use the coordinating die to cut that out. And then I use some red twine to tie a bow around the bouquet, as well as for the tassel at the top of the tag. I also put down a few gems around this tag. For tag number 2, I'm going to be using the stitching die of the month. This one was so cute. It's called Enchanted Stitched Mushroom. And I have an orange tag, and I just glued down the green leaves onto that first. For this mushroom, I cut it out with some red cardstock, and I stitched it up with some gold floss. Now I can just put my mushroom together. The sentiment comes from the Enchanted Stitched Mushroom set as well, and it just says thanks. And I decided to pop up this mushroom as well. It's fun to have a little dimension on your tags. Then I use some black and white baker's twine for the top of the tag, and here it is all done. Such a fun little tag to give out. For tag number 3, I'm going to be using the wax seal of the month. This one is so pretty. It's called Fall Meadow. Let me hold up the seal so you can kind of get an idea of what this looks like. I'm just trying to hold it so you can see it really closely. There we go. You'll get an idea of what it looks like once I press it into the wax. But I decided to kind of mimic the picture on the wax seal and create a little floral arrangement on a circle tag. I'm using an older die set for my blooms. It's called Be Bold Blooms. This is one of my favorite sets from Spellbinders, and it was very popular when it came out about a year and a half ago, I'd say. I cut out my greenery with some sage cardstock. Now for the flowers. I'm using the Happy Fall sentiment again on this tag. Again, this was from the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month Club. Tweezers are really handy to have to place your small die cuts down like this. I'm going to add another smaller flower underneath the large one, and then another large flower just kind of at the bottom. I left a place for the wax seal kind of up at the top right. I'm going to add one more flower over on the side. I just want my arrangement to look really full and pretty. Okay, now for the fun part. This tag is ready for the wax seal. I've never put a wax seal on a tag before, but we're going to do it today. I'll put my mat down first. This will protect my work mat from the heat of the wax. And then I'm going to light my candle and put my kettle on top. I had to buy a small lighter at the grocery store because a lot of my supplies are in storage still. I haven't gone through all of the boxes yet. I'll put 4 wax beads in the spoon and allow that to melt. And once it's melted, I'll pour it on the silicone mat. Now for the seal. I'm going to kind of guide it in place. I like to have an even ridge around the design. This one didn't quite work out, but it's still gorgeous. The wax bead color is copper, and it's so pretty. I'm going to try this one more time. Again, I used 4 wax beads, and I had a little bit of residual wax in the spoon, and that just helped to make it a little bit bigger. But I'm going to guide this into place. I used to just set it down and drop it and hope for the best. This time I kind of guide it in place, and then this one worked out really perfectly. So now I have the ridge all around it evenly, and I can put my tag together. So I cut out a piece of latte brown cardstock. I'm going to tape the twine onto this cardstock and kind of sandwich the twine in between my 2 pieces. I'll tie a little bow at the bottom of the tassel. And then I am going to use some foam squares to pop up my main piece. Center that on the brown cardstock. And then I'm going to use a seal sticker. These are in the Spellbinders shop. These are fabulous. They're really sticky and will hold your wax seal in place. I'll peel off the release paper, and it's going to kind of hang off the edge. So I did cut the wax seal sticker in half. Here it is, all done. This is a fun little tag, and I love the added texture and interest with the wax seal. My next tag is going to be super fast. I'm using some Barely Peach cardstock. I'll use the 3D embossing folder for September. This one's called Mushroom Harvest, and unfortunately it is sold out. It sold out pretty fast. I'll use a baby wipe to wipe this down. I don't have my spray bottle. It's somewhere in one of my boxes in storage. But the baby wipes work really well. I just wiped down both sides, and it prevents the paper from tearing when you run it through your machine. So here it is. And then to bring out the pattern, I'm using some lunar paste, some red lunar paste. And I'm using a Tim Holtz blending tool. Blending foam is flat, and it's perfect because it won't get into all of the little crevices in the embossed panel. So it'll just hit the raised embossing, and it'll add some shine to it. This one is one of my favorite tags. I'll use a sentiment from the Clear Stamp and Die Club of the month for September. And this one says, "I'm thankful for a friend like you." I'll use the coordinating die to cut this out. And I stamped it onto another piece of the Barely Peach cardstock. I'll pop this up with some foam squares. And I'm going to put this at the bottom of my tag. I'll use some more of the black and white baker's twine for the tassel at the top of this tag. I don't have all of my ribbons and threads out, so I didn't have many options this time. Let's fold this in half and tuck the folded edge into the tag hole at the top and pull the ends through. And then I did pull out some red pearls. I'm going to place these around the sentiment. Here is a close-up look at the finished tag. The lunar paste dries really fast, and I love that aspect of the lunar pastes. Not to mention all of the beautiful shine. Okay, for my last tag, I'll use the Better Press plate for September, and this one is called Corner Sunflowers. I'll place this beautiful plate on the Better Press system as well as the sentiment. I do flip that over so it's the right side up in just a minute. I'll tape down the cotton paper on the door of the system. And now I get to decide which ink I should use. I have all of the inks and they keep coming out with more. It's so fun to have a lot of selections to choose from. But I decided to use a dark brown. This one is called Bark. So I'm doing a pounce and pivot with the ink pad. And I go over the plate a few times so the ink is nice and dark. For the sentiment, I'm going to use black, but I end up changing this out at the end. Now to place the paper on it and run it through the Platinum 6. And let me show you how beautiful and detailed this comes out. And I love the dark brown. It just is perfect for your fall-themed tags or cards. Look how detailed that is. It's so stunning. I like to go ahead and clean my plates as well as the Better Press system with the archival ink cleaner right away. And then I just use a microfiber cloth, wipe it down, and it comes off perfectly. Okay, so here is the sentiment. And I use the coordinating die to cut that out, but I do end up stamping or pressing it again with a different color. Now I'm going to cut out my tag. It creates such a gorgeous tag, and it's so easy to do. I'm going to tape my tag die in place, cut this out. You don't even have to color this in if you don't want to. It's just beautiful. But I do decide to bring in my Zig brush pens to just add a little touch of color to it. And it's so fun to use this cotton paper with the Zig markers. Here it is, all ready to color or not. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow on these sunflowers. And then I'll come in with a light brown just to add some shading. I used the clear blender marker as well to soften the edges on this. It blends out beautifully on this cotton paper. I will go in and add some green to the leaves. I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of how I did this. But the darker brown adds a lovely touch of shading to this tag. And it doesn't take you very long to do at all. You can make up tons of these kinds of cards really fast. So I pressed the sentiment again with some clay ink. It's a little bit lighter than the dark brown ink I used on the tag. It makes it pop just a little more. And I was so happy to find all of my embellishments. So I'm putting some white pearl embellishments around the sentiment for this tag. I recently found all of my embellishments in one of my boxes. And here's a close-up look at the finished tag. So I'm going to have to think of some fall-time treats that I can hand out to my family and friends using some of these tags. But here is a little recap of the tags that I created. Let me set these out on my work mat for you to see. That mushroom, the red mushroom tag, I think is my favorite. It's just so simple, but stunning. I hope I gave you some fun inspiration and ideas of what you can use your club kits on. I'll have, of course, the links to everything in the description box if you're interested in checking any of these out. These clubs are on sale through the 27th of September. Have a lovely day, my crafty friends. I'll be back with more inspiration really soon. Bye.